Now we're inside the main switch box of the machine. Here is the 6 diode rectifier for one of the 24 volt power supplies, 6V1, and over here 6V2. 6V1 is the important one. You get out of this a 6 pulse per cycle DC ripple averaging out at 24 volts. The ripple doesn't really matter. It's mainly powering coils to 24 volt relays, but it supplies the back planes of both the Izumi gear change PLC and the main Hyde and Hayne TNC controller. Those inputs and outputs on those devices are optically isolated, so this is actually the real power supply to their back planes. The next thing we look at is these 4 relays here. Again, they're powered by the 24 volts from the Hyde and Hayne, and they energize when the index or index mark has been found on each encoder in turn. Here we have the X, the Z, and the Y, in a funny sequence because of the old Philips controller that this originally had. And this one here is when the rotary table C locks in. The outputs go to the servo amplifiers to tell it that it's shifting from hunt mode into full servo mode. And there's one more here that we'll look at. This is an extra relay that I put in, which sets the time delay from star to delta on the main spindle motor. Because it needs different times for different gears, most of the low-speed gears are about 1 second, and that slowly creeps up as you get to 1250 revs gear to about 1.6 seconds. And then the last 3 gears go up quite considerably until at 2500 revs per minute. That gear takes a good 3.5 seconds in star mode before it can switch across. So I programmed them all into the ladder programming on the Izumi PLC. It looks to see what gear it's in before it starts the motor, before the motor starts, and it holds this to the correct time. It sets the correct time on this for the particular gear the motor's in, so you get the right delay before from star to delta. This circuit board here is on the door of the cabinet. The back planes of the 2 controllers are all 24 volts, but the circuit breakers and contactors, the big contactors for all the motors, etc., have 220 volt coils. So these interstitial relays on the board here have 24 volt coils that are controlled by the main controller, and the contacts on them then feed over to the 220 volts and feed over to the big contactors in the cabinet.